Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. If you're new here, welcome in. Thanks for giving me a chance. Please hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications. It really helps keep my channel going. And if you've already subscribed, thanks so much. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, why not? I promise nobody will call you or visit you. Anyways, you do what you want to do, huns. That's all. So today's video, I wanted to show you a few things. It's more of a this and that kind of a video, but mostly homemade cookbooks. It's a great thing to do. I love YouTube, I really do, but I do find it has completely taken over cookbooks. I don't really go to my old cookbooks anymore. I go straight to YouTube. What I love about it, it gives me a chance to look at different ones, and I'm confident enough now in my cooking that I can take this from here and this from here. For example, tomorrow I want to make bran muffins. I love bran muffins, really. I will choose bran over chocolate if they're done right. Dry ones. So I had to order wheat bran. These are going to be just for me because my daughter can't have the wheat bran. But one recipe calls for brown sugar. I happen to love molasses with bran, so I'm gonna actually cut the brown sugar in half and use half molasses, but that's for tomorrow. First thing, other thing I wanted to say is thank you all so much for the birthday wishes. It was so nice, and I was so happy to hear from all of you. Thank you. And I loved all of you who said you were glad I was born. That just warmed my heart, I'm telling you. I wanted to show you guys too this beautiful card that my sister-in-law made. She's so talented. She can sing, she's an artist. Her paintings are beautiful. She's also a Reiki master, so, you know, but it's this, and I'm telling you, I love this so much. I want to recreate it and do a backsplash in my kitchen if we ever redo my kitchen. And then she made me a lovely card that says, "You are loved," with a little 3D heart. And it's on the same stalk. And I just love it. I just love it. Okay, so now I want to show you why you need to do homemade cookbooks or get your family. This is a great family project. You can ask older generations, you can ask younger generations, you can ask friends, you can ask colleagues, coworkers, whatever you want to do, okay? If you want me to send you a recipe, I'll send you a recipe. It's a great way to remember people. I'm telling you, the movie Coco did a number on me. It's a great way to remember people. I have recipes in my mother's handwriting. I have recipes in my mother-in-law's handwriting. I have recipes with people's names, so I know that they were their favorites that my mom had written. But I do, I want to try to show you. So this is the newest one we're doing right now, my daughter and I. And what it is you can add to it. So you can do them on small card or pages. What I like about the small cards here, they're in page protectors. And I'm going to show you why that's important. This is a book we found that was my mother-in-law's. It's older. It's handwritten. My mother-in-law had the most beautiful penmanship. However, a lot of these are so faded and so stained, we can't read them. So some of them are just lost, you know? But here's a cranberry loaf by Lucy. I know who that is. Hermit Cookies by Judy and Al. What's this one? Streusel Cake by Lucy. Best Ever Muffins. Well, that was before she met mine, but you know, we won't talk about that. Yeah, there's all kinds of, lots of, let's go to some of the, oh, this is from the Urban Peasant. This was a cooking show I used to watch years ago. I actually really enjoyed his cooking. Here's schnitzel. a recipe for ground pork loaf, olive cheese puffs. Oh, might have to try those. Cornbread, although my cornbread recipe, we called it Johnny cake, and the best one I ever had, my Aunt Madeline would make it. And if my Aunt Madeline made it, my mom and dad went running over. And my cousin Chris, who was my cool cousin, and she gave me the recipe and I made it, and we all just love it, you know. And I can make it gluten-free as well, which I really love doing. So, and then when my husband moved out, she started writing out recipes for him. Here's pot roast, sweet and sour meatballs, rouladen, you know, sauce for his ribs, because my husband does make amazing barbecue sauce. He taught me Italian delight beef. Now, that recipe, I've heard so many people call it so many different things. I've heard it called American chop suey. I've heard it called goulash. Which it's not goulash. Okay, I found that out. We always call it hamburger, macaroni, and tomatoes. Basically, the ingredients were the recipes and the title at the same time. So that's another thing. It's interesting to find the different things people do. Now, this was the first one we started doing. It's had better days. It's handwritten. And what I do if I download a recipe is I print them out. But I don't like doing that because it's a waste of paper. But I put it in here until I try it. Then when I try it, if it's good enough to be written in, then I write it in. And it's written in different sections. Gluten-free sticky toffee pudding. Gotta try that one. Pecan scones, pecan, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. But there's a lot of them in here. My barbecue sauce, but I notice even some of the ones I've written out are starting to fade. So I highly recommend, sweet potato casserole. No healthy aspect whatsoever, but so yummy. Potato latkes, I love making those. This one, what's this one? I can't even read this, what it is. Oh, I know what this is. These are bacon pancakes, which are delicious. You know what? I'm gonna make bacon pancakes for this channel one day. I think you guys would really enjoy it. It's got flour, like regular pancake ingredient, but you also substitute 1/3 of the flour for 1/3 of a cup of cornmeal. And you use the bacon drippings. Don't call it bacon fat, it's a bacon drippings. And the bacon crumbled up, and they're delicious. I've tried adding cheese and green onions to it. It's too much. It's just too much. If you want to do that, make a muffin instead. That's my view. So yeah, some of my favorite recipes I just wanted to share with you. My meatballs, a dear friend, and I've written it in here too, the story behind it. My dear friend Antonella gave me her mother's Italian meatball recipe and sauce, and it's so good. And it's one of those recipes where you cook the meatballs in the sauce. I will roast meatballs, I never fry them. That's just a me thing. Other people do have a great time with it. It's not something I do. Mac and cheese, 2 ways. I do it baked and stovetop, so it depends what you're looking for. My big section is sweets. I love making sweets. And yeah, like even my daughter, her friend Shayla made a cheesecake she really likes, so she put it in here. Her own chocolate cake, she's made a few. Butter tarts, all different frostings. Crack. Everyone laughs about this because I've only ever called it crack. That's what it's usually made at Christmas time. And I looked up a recipe for crack. I'm surprised the police didn't beat down my door. Don't Google that recipe. We call it cracker candy now. And what it is, it's saltine crackers, or if you're feeling ritzy, you can use Ritz. And you boil butter, sugar, and vanilla. And then you pour it over the crackers, and then you bake them in the oven. I think it's just for 10 minutes. And then you chill it and you break it. It is so good. Now, some people, before you break it, you also put chocolate chips on the top and just pop it in the oven for a couple minutes and then spread the chocolate. You can also add crushed candy canes, whatever you want to add to it, and then let it cool. This stuff, they call it crack because it's addictive. It's so good. It really is. Candy cane cookies are a tradition in our house. We make them every Christmas. Shortbread, blondies, molasses sugar cookies. They're just like a certain coffee shop that shall remain nameless. You know, but a lot of stars will go to it. Chocolate dessert salami. I love this. If you guys haven't had it at Christmas time, I think I'm going to make it for us. It's a bunch of leftover cookies crushed up with some chocolate, and you roll it up. Now, I do it just so it looks like a salami. I sprinkle powdered sugar over it, and I tie it with twine. And I gave it to my friend Paula, and she thought it was wild. So she took it to her family. They had a big family Christmas dinner, and they finished the meal, and she brought it out. And her mother said, no, we just finished all the food. We don't need salami. We're get ready for dessert. Her uncle was already reaching for bread. When she sliced it, they realized it was actually cookies, chocolate cookies that you just slice and eat. It's a great recipe, and we'll definitely make it together. I also have a couple different fudge recipes that I want to share with you that you just need a microwave for. Yeah, that's it. I also make a white chocolate cranberry cookie that is my friend Serena's favorite. It's the secret ingredient is a tablespoon of brandy, and they're very yummy. And when I say tablespoon, I actually soak the cranberries in it as well. So it's a little more. It's Christmas, it's okay. And then Empire biscuits, which are wonderfully delicious. My friend Grace got me making them, and they are really pretty, really cute, and a complete and total pain in the ass to make. But I'm being honest. I also have to be honest. I don't mean to sound conceited, I really don't, but I make the best brownies on the face of the planet. Mine are cocoa brownies. They are moist, they are delicious. You can even add caramel so that you bite in and there's a caramel layer that's all gooey, and it's very good. Let's see what else. Brittles. I love to make brittles. Pumpkin pie. This was the funniest. It was my husband's and I first Christmas together. And I'm not a huge pumpkin pie fan, mostly because, and please don't hate me for this, I can't stand nutmeg. And I find some people put it in cream sauces too, and I cannot stand the taste of nutmeg. So most pumpkin pies are loaded with nutmeg. So I said to my husband, I'm gonna make pumpkin pie because your parents love it. My parents love pumpkin pie. And I said, I'm gonna make it from scratch. So when we were grocery shopping, I reached for a can of pumpkin puree. He said, I thought you were making it from scratch. I said, I am. I'm using pumpkin puree. I'm gonna make the filling myself. He said, isn't a pumpkin pie from scratch from a pumpkin? And this was me. You can make it from a pumpkin? So I looked at a recipe. I've never made it any other way since. You scoop out the seeds, you quarter it, you put it on a roasting pan and you roast it. That's it. And then it practically purees as you're taking it out of the shell to put it in a bowl. And then I just zhuzh it with my electric mixer, and you have homemade pumpkin puree. And then I add maple syrup and cream. Well, I try to cook as low fat as we can in our house. And I found this great substitute from Greta Podletsky. She does Yum and Yummer, and it's a great sub for a cream. You can use a can of evaporated milk. The same, and it's 1-to-1 ratio, and I buy the fat-free. So I'm able to make my cheesecakes a little lower fat. I'm able to make pie fillings a little lower fat. Anything that calls for my butter chicken, I make very good butter chicken, but I don't use cream. I use fat-free evaporated milk. It's a great hack if you want to try to save some fat and calories. It's just a healthier way of eating. That's all. I never want to substitute flavor for health. It's like life. You can have both. You just have to figure it out. And you listen to Auntie Angel. I will give you all my tips and tricks. This video is just really more turning the pages, do some more tapping on the book. And I'm just reading to you. So if you just want to fall asleep, you can close your eyes, just listen to me talk away, and you can go to sleep this way. Or if you're interested, you know, we're just having a little chat. I remember when I first got married, I wasn't sure, even though I was I got married later, I didn't really know how to cook without a cookbook. I didn't have the feel. I didn't know how long. I didn't know. I remember buying, we all joke, my $80 pie. I bought all the ingredients I knew I would need to make a homemade cherry pie. And I found a recipe and it had the ingredients. And then when I turned the page, it said put in hot oven till done. What does that mean? I'm like, I don't know what that means. I was literally calling my mom, what's a hot oven? She goes, 400. An average oven is 350. Medium is 375. A hot oven is 400 and above, which really helped me, you know. And till done, you just watch it till it's done. Well, no, I'm not watching a pie for an hour. I need time limits, so I will never do that to you. This one was a Christmas dessert I used to make all of the time until lactose caught up with me. And probably once I turned 50, and in the 6 years since, I can't do lactose anymore. But there's a lot of lactose-free products out there, guys. Like, don't turn away from certain things. We have found some amazing lactose-free shredded nacho cheese, which I use for tacos and burritos and things. Spanish rice, I like using cheese and rice. This one is, my dad loved tiramisu. My brother couldn't say tiramisu when he was little. He always called it dusty moosey. But my mom liked British trifle. So for Christmas one year, I put them together. And I used the mascarpone from the trifle, a little bit of the coffee drizzled over angel food cake, and I did a gelatin layer and a fruit layer and the whipped cream. So we call it trifle. And if anyone would like, I can show you that at Christmas time too. It's a special occasion recipe. I also have a great recipe. I got individual mini white chocolate cheesecakes. They are incredible. People always go nuts for them. You make them in a muffin tin, and you can also make them in a mini muffin tin. You just make a graham cracker crust, and that's just graham cracker, sugar. I also use ground almonds and butter. And then you just pat it down. And then the filling is 1 can of condensed milk, 8 ounces of melted white chocolate, and 2 eggs. And you mix it all up, pour it over, and you bake it. I think it bakes at 300 for 20 minutes. And they should still be jiggly in the middle. You chill them overnight. People go insane for these. Like, really. I try to make them, if people have suffered a loss that I know, I take food to them. I usually try to do like a spaghetti sauce, something that they can freeze or heat up if they want, something sweet. When my mother died, my friend Julie came over and she brought a bag of coffee, strong coffee, and a coffee cake. and she said that that's their custom. It's bittersweet. You bring something bitter, something sweet. It meant the world to me. I absolutely adored it, and that's what I try to do now. I always bring some coffee or some wine because I find wine bitter. I'm not a wine connoisseur. Give me cocktails, like fruity drinks that you can't really taste alcohol. I'm happy camper. Or an amaretto sour. Oh, those are good. That's equal parts amaretto and lemon juice and a simple syrup. And a simple syrup is an equal amount of sugar and water that you melt until you can't see the sugar anymore and it becomes a syrup. And I just keep that in the fridge in a little closed container. So probably for one drink, I would use like a tablespoon of the simple syrup. And you mix it all up and it's a delicious drink. It really is. And then I have muffins, and I have recipes for add anything muffins, add anything cookies. So it's like a base recipe, and then you just add the stuff you want. Because everybody likes something different. So a lot of times when I'm making muffins, I'll make a batter for a dozen muffins. And because there's 3 of us, my husband loves blueberry. So I'll divide the batter into 3, and I put blueberries and lemon zest in one for him. I like chocolate chip muffins. Big surprise. I'll add chocolate chips to mine. And my daughter loves muffins with dried fruits or white chocolate. She loves apricots. If I'm making for just her and I make carrot muffins. He doesn't like them, but she and I love carrot muffins. Again, no nutmeg. Here's pumpkin bread. That was always a favorite for my daughter. And yeah, so like I said, I'm slowly transferring the ones here into this book. Oh, what's this one? Oh yes, chicken shawarma. This recipe is to die for. I don't like dark meat. I like chicken breasts, and we do boneless, skinless, and let's face it, there's not a lot you can do with it. This recipe I got from Paul Lelilakis, I believe. He's on Instagram. I can try to find it and put it in the description. And the marinade has soy sauce and canola oil, vinegar, brown sugar, garlic, ground coriander, cumin, chili flakes, and salt. And you cut up your boneless, skinless chicken thighs, in this recipe calls for 12, and then you cook it. And while you're cooking it, you think, this is never gonna come together. It's all liquid, it's not browning. All of a sudden, it browns. The liquid evaporates, because you have to cook it till there's no more liquid. And it goes crispy, and you get the bits, and it starts to shred. And when you're eating, I'm telling you, people sit at the table and like are picking right off the platter, like taking the crispy bits. It is so, so yummy. And he has amazing recipes on his website. But like this one has a cheese ball, baked brie. It has endive salad, watermelon salad. And see, this is what I was talking about with my mom. She used to have a photo album, and that was a little thing we used to use back in the day that we would slide our pictures in. And she saw that I had one in my cookbook shelf, and she's like, why do you have pictures in there? And I said, no, that's what I use for my recipes. And so she started doing it. And then I found some, and I found some of her notes in the side, which just, it makes me feel close to her. And that's what it will do for someone else. And I'm not talking about even people who've passed on. Just when you're cooking, it makes you think of that person. So if you give a baked gift or a covered dish, whatever, to someone, always include the recipe. Now I do this for 2 reasons. One, in case there's any allergies. That way they know what's in the dish and you don't have to worry. And 2, if they love the dish, they're going to keep the recipe, and every time they make it, they're going to think of you. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, this was just more of a this and that, blah, blah. And just a cooking day, you know? I just wanted to share. I love to cook, and I love recipes, and I love you guys, so I wanted to combine them. Okay, I will do another read you to sleep tonight or guided meditation. I haven't quite decided which one yet. So yeah, please keep watching. Please keep your comments coming. It really helps me to feel connected to you guys. It's been a really rough few days health-wise, so I really, really appreciate you all so much. I really can't tell you how much. So I love you. I value you. I honor you. And I'm so very glad that you were born